Ukraine is pushing ahead with its peace formula to end nearly 2 years of war with Russia, with a meeting of national security advisors in Davos.
As Hamas marked the 100th day of the war in Gaza, it aired a video of Israeli hostages appealing to their government to stop the offensive.
Former US President Donald Trump has urged voters to brave the winter storm and vote in the Iowa caucus.
As Greece looks set to pass new laws on same-sex marriage and adoption, we ask what the changes could mean in practice for the country's LGBTQ+ community.
Fireworks in Copenhagen's Tivoli Gardens as King Frederick X takes the throne following the abdication of his mother.
Ukraine is pushing ahead with its peace formula to end nearly 2 years of war with Russia, with a meeting of national security advisors from around the world in Davos. President Zelensky sent his chief of staff on ahead to attend the opening morning session. Euronews was also there.
The World Economic Forum annual gathering has started earlier this year with the fourth round of the Ukraine peace formula, talks hosted by Ukraine and Switzerland. And although there were more countries participating here in Davos compared to the previous round in Malta, China did not attend the gathering. I asked Andriy Yermak, the head of the Office of the President of Ukraine, whether Kyiv is trying to get China on board.
It's important that all the countries who is coming, they really, honestly want to participate and to help to end this war and to bring the peace. But there is a different thoughts, idea how it's possible to do. And different countries have the different experience.
Chinese Premier Li Qiang will lead the delegation in Davos this week. Ukraine recognizes that Russian ally China must be brought on board for any progress to be made.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky was not at the Sunday meeting, but he will be here in Davos on Tuesday addressing the World Economic Forum the same day as Chinese Premier. Sasha Vakulina for Euronews from Davos.
Thousands of people held the demonstration against the extreme right in the German city of Potsdam on Sunday. They included local resident Chancellor Olaf Scholz. There has been nationwide outrage since a leak from a secret meeting revealed that right-wing groups and AfD politicians had discussed plans for remigration, forced expulsion of people with migrant backgrounds. Critics say the plans are reminiscent of the darkest chapter in German history.
Greece's centre-right government last week announced plans to legalise same-sex marriage and adoption. If passed, the new measure would allow gay married couples to adopt children who are currently in institutions, but stop short of allowing same-sex couples to acquire children through surrogate motherhood.
Υπάρχουν πολλά ζευγάρια ΛΟΑΤΚΙ με ΛΟΑΤΚΙ γονείς που περιμένουν αυτό το βήμα, να αναγνωριστεί δηλαδή η σχέση τους με το γάμο, προκειμένου τα παιδιά να έχουν δικαίωμα στην αναγνώριση των γονιών τους. Επομένως είναι κάτι το οποίο αφορά τα ανθρώπινα δικαιώματα και κυρίως τα δικαιώματα των παιδιών, τα οποία μέχρι σήμερα είναι στον αέρα.
Greece's LGBTQ+ community has pushed for civil marriage for many years. Stella Biella is a primary school teacher and mother of 2 teenage boys. She's also the head of an NGO that campaigns for the rights of same-sex parents. She believes that the new law would offer protection to children.
Φανταστείτε τώρα εσείς να μην μπορείτε να πάτε να πάρετε το παιδί σας από το σχολείο, να μην μπορείτε να το συνοδεύσετε στο νοσοκομείο, να μην μπορείτε να ταξιδέψετε μαζί του. Τα παιδιά μας θα έχουν ένομη σχέση και με τους δύο γονείς. Αυτό είναι πάρα πολύ σημαντικό. Είναι πάρα πολύ σημαντικό γιατί βιώνουν διακρίσεις όχι για κάτι που τα ίδια είναι, διακρίσεις λόγω σχέσης με τους ΛΟΑΤΚΙ+ γονείς τους.
According to government sources, lawmakers in Greece will vote on the bill by the end of February.
Η κοινωνία δεν είναι ακόμη έτοιμη. Αυτή την απάντηση έδιναν συνήθως οι ελληνικές κυβερνήσεις όταν άνοιγε η δημόσια συζήτηση για την ισότητα στο γάμο. Βεβαίως και τώρα υπάρχουν αντιδράσεις. η Ορθόδοξη Εκκλησία έχει δηλώσει την αντίθεσή της, ενώ αρκετοί βουλευτές δεξιών και κεντροδεξιών κομμάτων έχουν ξεκαθαρίσει πως δεν θα υπερψηφίσουν το νομοσχέδιο. Από την Αθήνα για το Euronews, Απόστολος Τάικος.
Former US President Donald Trump has urged voters to brave the winter storm and vote in the Iowa caucus on Monday evening. Trump is hoping his campaign can halt his rival's momentum and secure the Republican nomination ahead of this year's presidential elections. Trump still maintains a huge lead in the polls, supported by nearly half of likely caucus goers. Former UN ambassador and South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis remained locked in a close battle for second. At a speech in Indianola on Sunday night, Trump called on voters to fight back against his political enemies and vote. He also claimed the 4 indictments he is currently facing are driven by false claims.
We're going to do well.
After Iowa, the Republican primary shifts to New Hampshire, Nevada, and South Carolina over the coming weeks before moving into the rest of the country this spring. Iceland's President Guðni Jóhannesson warned the nation of a daunting period of upheaval as the people who once lived in the fishing town of Grindavik watched their abandoned homes catch fire. In a rare address to the nation, he said, "We will not give up." Intensive seismic activity, a volcano erupting for the second time in less than a month, has now caused lava to spill onto homes and communities. Defences built after an eruption in December have partially contained the lava, but some have been breached.
Hamas rockets launched from Gaza towards Israel. As the 100th day of the war between Israel and Hamas was marked by both sides, the militants aired video footage showing 3 Israeli hostages and ended with the warning, "Tomorrow we will inform you of their fate." Israeli officials generally declined to respond to Hamas's public messaging on the hostages, casting it as psychological warfare. Only hours before, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed nobody would stop Israel and its war on Hamas.
אנחנו עושים הכל כדי להשיב את כולם הביתה. אני מדגיש כולם, בלי יוצא מן הכלל. המאמצים האלה נמשכים כל העת, גם ברגעים אלה. ואנחנו...
Meanwhile, in a televised speech, the leader of Lebanon-based Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, claimed Israel's war on the Gaza Strip was mired in failure and that it would be forced to negotiate. Israel has been trading fire almost daily with Hamas allies Hezbollah. But tension has risen further in the aftermath of an airstrike that killed an elite commander of the Lebanese militia 1 week ago.
Lawmakers in Greece have introduced new measures aimed at tackling sky-high prices, an issue the government says is its #1 priority. The state estimates that prices will begin to fall by spring, but some residents remain sceptical.
Πολύ ακριβά. Πρέπει να δεν προλαβαίνεις να βάζεις το χέρι σου στην τσέπη. Χαλάς το 50 και σε 0 χρόνο φεύγει.
Τα νέα μέτρα που ανακοίνωσε η κυβέρνηση, πώς τα βλέπετε?
Θα δούμε, θα αποδείξουν τώρα. Σε λίγο καιρό θα δούμε τι γίνεται.
Βλέπω και καλά και κακά. Ορίστε, 7 ευρώ για χόρτα. Τίποτα άλλο δεν σας λέω.
Πιστεύετε θα πέσουν οι τιμές τώρα με τα νέα μέτρα που έκανε η κυβέρνηση?
Κοιτάξτε, είμαι τόσο μεγάλη γυναίκα που ποτέ δεν έπεσαν. Ό,τι ανεβαίνει δεν ξανακατεβαίνει.
The Greek government says the measures will address unfair profiteering from inflated prices, which it says can be put down in part to global crises.
Η εισαγόμενη ακρίβεια είναι το νούμερο 1 πρόβλημα που αντιμετωπίζουν όλα τα νοικοκυριά στη χώρα μας και κατ' επέκταση είναι και η πρώτη προτεραιότητα της κυβέρνησης. Ήδη η κυβέρνηση έχει προχωρήσει σε μια σειρά από μόνιμες και στοχευμένες παρεμβάσεις που κατατείνουν στην ενίσχυση των πολιτών απέναντι στην ακρίβεια.
Η Ελλάδα δεν είναι μπανανία, ήταν το μήνυμα του Πρωθυπουργού Κυριάκου Μητσοτάκη προς τις πολυεθνικές, τονίζοντας ότι ο πληθωρισμός απληστίας δεν μπορεί να γίνει ανεκτός. Γι' αυτό το λόγο, η ελληνική κυβέρνηση προχώρησε στην λήψη 4 μέτρων για την προστασία των καταναλωτών. Τα 2 από αυτά έχουν προσωρινό χαρακτήρα, ενώ τα άλλα 2 μόνιμο. Σκοπός είναι να μπει ένα φρένο στη ραγδαία αύξηση των τιμών και στην κερδοσκοπία. Γιώργος Δημητρόπουλος, Αθήνα, Euronews.
Emergency services arriving at a wedding in Italy's Tuscany region. They were called to the scene after the dance floor in the 15th century monastery collapsed, sending guests plummeting some 3 meters into the room below. Around 35 people were injured, including the bride and groom, who ended the night side by side in hospital, surrounded by some of their guests who were also hospitalized. 6 people reportedly suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Copenhagen's Tivoli Gardens on Sunday staged its biggest fireworks display ever to mark a royal succession. Friedrich X is now the King of Denmark, following the formal abdication of his mother, Queen Margrethe II. It had been a day of celebration for the Nordic nation as it experienced its first royal succession in more than half a century, and one not caused by the death of a monarch. Earlier, tens of thousands of Danes had gathered in front of the Christiansborg Palace in Copenhagen, where the royal succession was taking place. Unlike in the UK, there's no coronation ceremony in Denmark. The abdication leaves the country with 2 queens. Margrethe keeps her title, while Friedrich's Australian-born wife becomes Queen Mary. And Friedrich and Mary's eldest son, Christian, has become crown prince and heir to the throne.